was an ordinary plumber living out in Brooklyn, New York. He made a decent living, and he was good at his job. He would take on any job, no matter the size, because he liked it. He was fortunate enough to have a great business partner and his younger brother, Luigi. One day, a mysterious person approached the Mario Bros. As they were leaving the home of a resident they had just fixed a leaky faucet for. You are a plumber, yes? Mario, not missing a beat on a potential customer. Sure are. Mario Bros. Plumbing. To whom do I owe the pleasure? Good, good. I have a leak in my basement that I need fixed by the morning. It was late in the day and the sun was setting. By now, the bros would stop all contractor work. Before Mario could interject and explain this, the person kept speaking. It is late, yes. I offer you 10,000 to fix it for me. Mario decided to bend the rules just a tiny bit. Could I get your address? I may be able to swing by in a few hours to look at this leak of yours. Mario unfolded and looked down at the paper. It was a handwritten address for a home in Central Park. He knew that couldn't be right, and no one lived in Central Park, much less was there a house there. However, before he could ask, the mysterious person had vanished. Luigi had finished packing up their work tools and called out to him, Hey, bro, come on, let's get going. Mario snapped back to reality and pocketed the address paper. Jumping into the driver's seat, he got their van rolling. On the way home, Mario brought up the job he had gotten from the person and asked for Luigi's help. Luigi hesitantly spoke up. Bro, I can't help you with this. Remember? I forgot the championship bowling tonight. Sorry. Mario sighed. Despite his own disinterest in the sport, it meant a lot to his brother. Knowing that the tournament was the final one for the season, he decided he would just do the job himself. Sure, on behalf of a parent would take a lot longer, but $10,000 is still 10,000. He dropped Luigi off at their home and drove their work van to Central Park. Night was cold, cloudy, light fog surrounded the area, and a thin blanket of snow covered the park. Mario parked the van outside, grabbed his tools, and ventured into the park. He had walked through Central Park a few times, but he had never seen a home. But following the map, a small house was found. It looked old, with some repairs needed, but the numbers on the front were the same as the letter. He knocked on the door and announced himself. Mario here, the plumber? Anybody home? The door creaked open when he knocked on it, and a dark hallway could be glanced behind the door. He was about to call out a gun when a voice came from behind him. So soon? I wasn't expecting you this early. Mario was startled and turned around quickly to see the mysterious person from before standing behind him with a briefcase. I was at the bank. Had to get your payment. Seems I forgot to lock the home. The mysterious person walked past Mario and fully opened the door, flipping a light switch to show the interior to be modest, if just a bit old fashioned. What got his interest, however, was the lack of power lines connecting to the home, but he figured they just ran underground. The two went inside, and the person opened the door to his basement. No light down there. Bulbs broken. Mario reached for his phone to use his flashlight, but realized he had left it back in the van. It was a decent walk back, and he wanted to get the job over with, so he dug through his toolbox. Luckily, finding a flashlight. Producing it, he ventured down into the basement, and the drip of water was heard. Clear sign of a water leak. Mario walked to the sound of the leak, but as he got closer, his footsteps changed sound. He shone the light down at the ground and saw sand. Only a few grains, but enough to make a difference. Weird. He shrugged it off and instead focused on the leak. He got out his tools and set to work on repairing it. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a green object, mostly shrouded in shadow. When he fixed the leak, he turned to start going upstairs to report a job well done, but the mysterious man was right in front of him. Mario, again, was startled by the sudden appearance of the person, but this time was different from the last. The man said nothing and just stood there. But before Mario could react, he swung the briefcase. It hit Mario and sent him through the green object, which was revealed to be an oversized pipe. He fell into it. The man then calmly collected the tools that the plumber had brought, excluding the flashlight that Mario still had with him, walked upstairs and away. He went outside the park where the Mario Bros. Plumbing van was, and then opened the back, put the tools and briefcase inside, and walked away. Mario had been falling for less than a minute in the green pipe, but there was a light below him, the exit. Not that Mario had any choice, but he exited the pipe and fell into a world that would have seemed so mystical, not for the barrenness of it all. It was a desert area, devoid of color and life. As far in any direction that Mario could see was nothing but sand and ruins. He looked into the sky and saw the pipe he came from, too far out of reach to dream of getting to. He clicked off the flashlight and put it away. The sun was out wherever he was, so there was no need for it yet. He saw strange structures in one direction, the only direction that wasn't just sand, so started to head that way. The place was eerily quiet, and as he got closer, he saw floating brick blocks everywhere. Mamma mia, Mario said, exasperated. Despite everything that was occurring, he was trying to keep it together. Or maybe the situation just hadn't set in for him yet. Mario walked, following the bricks, until he saw a towering staircase of them. He jumped up the staircase and saw the top of a flagpole. A pit with no end stood between him and the flagpole. So he backed up and made a running leap. The gap was longer than he anticipated, and he almost fell in, but he managed to grab the edge of the flagpole's base. Mario dangled over the pit. He glanced down and saw nothing but blackness, which added to his panic. If his grip slipped, he had no hope of survival, much less finding a way out. Fortunately, he managed to pull himself up, leaning against the flagpole and catching his breath. Mario finally had everything realized. He was pushed through a pipe, ended up in another world where it was a harsh midday in the middle of a desert with bottomless pits. It was a bit overwhelming. No, I have to keep going. There must be another way out. Maybe through there. Beyond the flagpole lay a castle, its details stripped from the sand and sun, making it the same drab color as the rest of the world. At the very least, it gets me out of this sun. Mario pushed through the castle doors and entered into the dark castle. The interior was pitch black, so he pulled back out the flashlight and illuminated the area. It was nothing like the exterior, except for the continued floating bricks. It was hot in here, but he couldn't tell where the heat was coming from. He started to walk through the castle, each footstep echoing in its interior. He stopped for a moment again to observe his surroundings, but when he realized his footsteps didn't stop alongside him, he turned around. A freakish bone turtle creature was shambling towards him with its piercing, glowing red eyes. Mario took off like a rocket, rapidly shining the flashlight around the area, seeing more and more piles of bones magically assembling themselves and coming to life. He saw a light at the end of the castle interior. Finally, a way out! Mario ran as fast as he could at the light, the castle getting hotter the closer he got. As he reached the source of the light, he stepped out onto a bridge and his hopes were dashed. There was no way out. Rather, it was a pit of boiling lava. He could hear the bone turtles getting closer, but his attention was instead brought to the bigger pile of bones in front of him. The bones magically started to assemble themselves into a much larger bone turtle, who, upon seeing Mario, started to breathe blue fire at him. Mario was cornered, trapped between a legion of small skeleton turtles and this really large one. But his hope again was raised when he saw an axe at the other side of the bridge. If he could just get around the bridge, he could use the axe to cut the bridge and drop the skeletons into the lava. Thinking quick, he dove past the fire and waited for an opening. The large skeleton turtle jumped, and Mario sprinted past him, grabbed the axe, and cut the bridge. The turtles began falling into the lava, unable to get past in a mindless charge. Mario breathed a sigh of relief. There was a door behind him, and going through it, he saw a green pipe, just like the one he came here in. He made a mad dash for the pipe and leaped into it. Finally, he thought, home at last. Back in Central Park, Luigi had gotten a ride up to find his brother. It had been over a day since he last saw him. The only thing he had to go off of was the plumbing job Mario had detailed before its bowling game. He saw the Mario Bros. Plumbing van still parked on the lot, so he knew Mario had to be somewhere around. Luigi ventured through the park, trying to find the house, but he was unsuccessful. It was almost as though the home had vanished into thin air. He was about to give up hope when the earth around him shook. Through the earth itself emerged a green pipe, and out of the pipe emerged Mario, who landed on the ground and collapsed, exhausted. He had been through a lot. It was clear he was tired. He fell asleep, right then and there. Luigi was in shock at what happened, but at least his brother was safe. Mario, I've been looking everywhere for you. Why didn't you answer your phone? Mario didn't respond. He was asleep. So Luigi sighed. He resigned himself. He'd get the answers later. But for now, Mario needed some rest. He took Mario back to the van, taking out a spare key and opening up the back. He was shocked. The tools were there, and a metal briefcase that he'd never seen before was also there. Opening it up, he saw a few gold coins, some grains of sand, and a note that simply read, "Thank you, Mario, but your payment is in another castle."